Welcome to the oh wait, I gotta start with 3 seconds of silence. I'm not very good at this. In case you're wondering, I just do it because it's fun. Welcome to the Aluminum Linings podcast, the podcast where we talk about anything except for our day jobs. It's 2021, new year, same podcast. Actually, I am not changing the format at all, but I'm very excited today. Joining us today is Kayla. Kayla uses she, her pronouns, and wow, just a very talented lady. But today we're going to talk about her hobby kind of turned business venture. So we're going to talk about Empower Pole Fitness, right?
Right.
And yeah, I'm very excited to learn all about this. So maybe give us kind of a brief description of what you're kind of doing over there with your studio.
Sure. And thanks for having me. I'm so excited to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
So we are opening a pole dance and fitness studio in Lethbridge, Alberta. I've been teaching pole for a couple years, and now we're deciding to open our own studio, me and the other instructors. And it's going to be a whole mix of like pole fitness, dance, some conditioning, some stretch, and we're really excited to open it. It's going to be opening in March 2021.
What was the thing that got you started in all this?
I actually started in 2011. I had just come home from a 3-month stint in Thailand. Regular life was seeming a little bit dry. And I was looking for something interesting to do, a hobby. And a friend was like, I'm looking at pole dancing classes. Would you want to join me? And I was like, oh, yes. So I took my first class and I kind of just started it on, a whim, kind of like a conversation starter. And then I just got hooked. So I've been dancing for 10 years, and about 5 years ago, my instructor, who is the owner of the studio, came to me and was like, I need another teacher. Are you interested in teaching? And I had never taught dance before, but I was like, sure, let's give this a go. And that's kind of where that all started.
So now you've been doing this for a while. You've been teaching for a few years. So what made you decide to open a studio then?
It's actually a dream I've had kind of for a long time. The studio owner, actually, when I was in university, had put the studio up for sale because she wanted to get out of it. And I was really close to just buying it and going for it. But I was like, Kayla, you're doing an undergrad degree. Like, maybe not the time. So it's been kind of, in the back of my mind for a long time, because there's just some things that I want to do that I'd want to do differently. I'd want to offer, more different kinds of classes. And teaching is something I'm just so passionate about. And I've also wanted to run a business for as long as I can remember. And so this time with COVID and shutting down, we just kind of took it upon ourselves, the other instructors and I, to run some online classes on Zoom just for fun and to kind of stay in touch. And it sort of blossomed into a thing. And we were like, maybe we can do this for real. So in the fall, we approached the studio owner, who didn't end up selling because nobody took her up on it. Yeah, and we offered to buy out the studio. So that's where we're at now. Yeah.
Obviously, with COVID and stuff, it's an interesting time to start a business, to say the least, I think.
Yeah.
Do you think having some like lead time going up to and having everything sort of shut down, do you think that's helped you kind of have a little bit of extra prep work, or what have you kind of been using this time to do?
There's lots of different facets of it. I mean, one of the things is when you're starting up a business, you're looking for funding. Whether that be, bank funding or anything like that, or grants. And when you apply for those things, they're like, "Ooh, fitness studio in Alberta, those are currently closed due to COVID. Maybe we're not going to lend you anything."
Oh, okay.
So that's a little scary, but our building is under renovations right now and would have been anyway until March anyway. So this current round of restrictions and lockdowns has actually been kind of okay timing for our business, because we weren't planning on opening up anyway. So in the meantime, we've been teaching classes online, which is lots more fun than I would have guessed it would be.
Okay.
And it's a great time for me too, because I'm off work, because my other job is in the service industry anyway. I've had lots of extra time at home to really practice and take online classes with other instructors that I've always wanted to take a class with, that I never would have been able to do without COVID, because they live in London or New York or things like that. So I've had lots of time to do lots of training and spend my time actually working on business, which would be really hard to do if I was working full time. So the silver lining, I guess.
Or an aluminum lining.
Aluminum lining, yeah.
because I don't really know anything about like the actual mechanics involved in pole dancing specifically, right? Like I have a little bit of background with like conditioning and weightlifting and stuff like that, like dryland type training all makes a lot of sense to me. But
Yeah.
I see pictures of you and you're up pretty high off the ground. So what is like the startup fitness level for somebody to kind of get into this? Like if someone was to jump in on one of your online classes, for example, how much kind of background do they actually need to have to sort of get started in this kind of stuff?
Actually, absolutely none whatsoever.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, the way that we build our classes, and we always have, even when I was just teaching, is our beginner classes are meant for anybody, any age, all walks of life, whether you've got a dance background, a fitness background, or none of that. Um, it's all meant to start there. And the lessons are kind of built to grow that strength. And you grow it a lot more quickly than you'd expect, actually. And then as far as, getting into some of the crazy stuff you see me do, there's always crash mats the first couple times. And I've landed on my head a couple times. But generally speaking, you're always learning that stuff with your instructor right beside you. So we do, I mean, before COVID, we do a lot of hands-on spotting. If you fall, you're going to fall into my arms and not
Okay.
break your neck, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it really does build up slowly. As you gain that strength and you gain that pain tolerance and kind of get over that fear as well.
Okay. So because I got to level with you. The only thing I know about a pole dancing class is stuff I've seen on TV, which I imagine is probably not terribly accurate. So like, what are some of the misconceptions if someone was going in and they were maybe hesitant to try it? What would be like something you would want to tell them to be like, no, come try this. Like just try it once and see how you like it.
The main thing that I get is people say, oh, I don't have the upper body strength for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, maybe not to do the stuff that you see on TV, but I'm not going to make you do that in the first class. Like the point of coming to pole is to build upper body strength, right? It's like, even if you're weightlifting, or you don't walk into the gym and start, squatting your body weight, right?
Right. Yeah.
You have to learn the form. You got to use lighter weights first, and then you build it up. There's not really a barrier to entry there. The other thing that I find is when you talk about pole fitness, you get, a lot of those like a little bit of side eye, like, oh, so are you a stripper? And my answer to that is always, I wish I was that good. There's been a lot of divide in the pole community as pole fitness has got more popular, because a lot of people in the pole industry really want to separate themselves from stripping. They're like, this is a fitness class, I do pole fitness, the hashtag I'm not a stripper is going around. And I actually think that really does a disservice to strippers and sex work in general. These people are the ones, without strippers, we wouldn't have pole. We wouldn't have the pole fitness and the pole dance that we all love so much. And I always think it's really important to make sure that, especially being in the industry, that we're really being good allies to the people who laid the groundwork for that. So that's really important to me too when I'm talking to people about pole.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's very interesting. I honestly, I wouldn't have thought of it from that perspective. Yeah, no, that's very, very interesting. So what other classes are you guys offering? I know online you guys are maybe limited for, what people can actually do kind of in their living rooms, but
yeah, for online right now, we've got some stuff with a pole because some of our students do have poles at home. So we've got conditioning classes on the pole, routines, and some tricks classes. We're also doing some off the pole stuff. So conditioning, like workouts, some stretch classes, and we're also doing some different routines like floor dance routines and chair routines, which is nice because that's stuff that people have in their house, and it's a good way to sort of get your cardio in and get a little creative before we're able to be in the studio. Yeah, and then once we get into the studio, we'll still actually offer both those kinds of classes. And as far as on the pole classes go, I really like to do a really wide variety of stuff. Some people come to the pole studio looking for fitness, and the pole fit conditioning classes are for those people. Some people come because they're looking to explore their sexuality or get in touch with their creative side. And so for that, we've got, different kinds of dance classes, and we work on dancing in heels and floor work, body waves, that kind of thing. And then we have the last side of it is kind of the tricks, which is the stuff I post the most of online, which is really acrobatic, and it's sort of more like aerial gymnastics on a pole. Yeah, so it kind of is something for everybody.
Okay, so just kind of a little bit of everything depending on what you're looking for. What is kind of like if you're just kind of in the studio by yourself, sort of just like messing around, what's like your favorite kind of thing to do, or like routine or exercise?
Oh, okay. There's sort of two. Can I have two?
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
So my first favorite is to just throw on whatever favorite song I have at the moment and see if I can build something to it, just a bit of freestyle.
Okay.
I grew up dancing. I did hip hop and jazz and lyrical. And so I really like combining those styles into my routine flows and kind of trying to see if I can, take pole and make it hip hop or take pole and make it ballet. So I love that because it really pushes me creatively. The other thing I love to do is the scary stuff, the tricks. I love, like, I'm working on flips right now, which are terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those would kind of be like my two favorite things to work on, depending how creative I'm feeling that day.
Yeah. Wow. So because you have said like there's crash mats and you have fallen a couple of times. When you do fall, what's your, like, do you find you just got to get up and try it again? Do you take a break and come back to it, or what's usually your strategy there just to?
I mean, the first goal is to get it on film because it's hilarious.
Go viral.
But I think it depends on the fall. Like I've definitely taken some spills that are funny and then I get right back up and go again because it's, not from too high or not too dangerous. And it's just, an awkward moment. I've taken a couple that I've never really injured myself too badly, but I've definitely taken a couple that I'm like, okay, it's time to walk away for the day. And usually when that happens for me, and I think for other people too, the next time you try that move, you get that little bit of fear in your gut. And you're like, oh God, am I going to fall on my head again? And that's when it's really nice to have a spotter or a bigger crash mat or somebody who can kind of like just be nearby to walk you through it. So you can prove to yourself that you can do it without falling.
Right. Well, I have one more question for you before we kind of wrap things up today. So as long as I've known you, which granted in the span of both our lives is not that long, but as long as I've known you, you have been a huge, huge advocate for local businesses.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like before it was trendy to be like shop local, you were like, hey guys, you should shop local. And not in like a pushy way, but I feel like every time I saw you, you were talking about a different local business that you had found and loved, or like, oh man, when you go to this restaurant here, you got to order this or this because I really like it, blah, blah, blah. So has that mentality affected the way that you're planning to run your business, or like, especially with living in a little bit of smaller community, like, do you find you're interacting a lot with local business owners and stuff like that? Or has that kind of affected your business plan at all?
Yeah, definitely. For me, for sure. I think that whole thing started, I worked at the Penny Coffee House in like 2009. And so I got a real taste of what it's like to not only be a small business in Lethbridge, but also, to see what owning a small business is like in Lethbridge. And that always kind of stuck with me, like how much hard work it is and how important it is to make those connections within your community and like how much you rely on word of mouth as well. So, and then since then I've really been lucky to, as the kind of person who's always really committing my heart to the local businesses in town, you meet so many cool, amazing people, amazing entrepreneurs who are just running this passion project of theirs and hoping it works. And I'm so lucky to be joining that group of people. So I'm super excited to sort of do some collaborations. Like I'd love to collab with my favorite local gym, my favorite yoga studio. Steel and Vines is a new wine bar that's just down the street where I also actually currently work when it's not COVID. And they're like 4 doors down from us. So I'm imagining some sort of like pole and wine event.
Yeah, for sure.
Pole first, wine after.
Yeah. That seems like the safest order of events for sure.
Yeah. So I think that's so helpful, for local business owners and entrepreneurs in this city being so small, is really being like cooperative and fostering that sense of community and working together. So I'm excited to jump into that.
Yeah. I'm excited for you. I saw on Twitter you were like, oh man, I'm doing a scary thing. Oh man, it's getting closer. Oh man, I'm following my dreams. And like, I feed off that kind of enthusiasm so much, where if someone else is enthusiastic about something, I'm like, I'm right there with you. I don't care if it's something I know absolutely nothing about. I'm like, I love this. I love your energy. I love that you're doing something cool and scary. Tell me all about it.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah.
To say Twitter, it was kind of been my place to sort of shout into the void. And I posted that like something big and scary coming up, and like 5 friends messaged me and were like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh my God, people read my Twitter."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely use Twitter as just sort of a dumping ground for like my insomnia thoughts or what have you. And it's just like, it's really great. It's cathartic. And yeah, usually when someone responds to something I've tweeted, I'm just like, what are you doing here? This is my love of the internet. Speaking of social media, where can they find you? Where can they find Empower?
Ooh, okay. So we have an Instagram page.
Mhm.
It's at Empower Pole YQL. And then we have a Facebook page as well. It's Empower Pole Fitness YQL.
Excellent. Online classes, anyone can jump on and take those. Hey, so you don't have to be living in Lethbridge to jump on and take an online class.
Yeah, absolutely. And you don't have to have a pole at home, and you don't have to have any experience. All you need, is a little bit of space to move around.
All right. Well, I think most of us have floors at home, so hopefully, but
Hopefully.
hopefully it's all working out. I don't know. But yeah, so things we've learned today. There's no fitness level too low to get started. We can take some online classes here, and you guys are offering a variety of things. And also, local businesses are very cool and run by cool people.
Yay.
As always, you can find my content on aluminumlinings.com. I just got a brand new logo up there. It's designed by James Hutchinson. No, I love the logo. It's very cool. It makes my heart real happy. So I've kind of snazzified the website. And what else? That's it. Good luck. Have fun. Don't talk to strangers unless you want to make new friends. Bye.